What's up guys, Matt here with a review for Mission Impossible Fallout. The film is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who is also the writer and director of The Way of the Gun, Jack Reacher, and the last Mission Impossible film, Rogue Nation. He's also done the screenplay for the Oscar-winning film The Usual Suspects, Edge of Tomorrow, and last year's The Mummy. Let's be fair, even Francis Ford Coppola had a bad movie. Ethan Hunt and his team, which now just consists of Luther and Benji, must obtain 3 plutonium cores that could be used by a terrorist organization known as the Apostles. The Apostles are what remain of the Syndicate, the former organization run by Solomon Lane, who was captured in the last film. During the operation, Ethan loses the plutonium in order to save Luther's life. Now he has a chance to get them back, but he'll be under close watch by a CIA operative known as August Walker, played by Henry Cavill. Now Ethan must stop the Apostles from obtaining the plutonium and causing chaos around the world. I'm not a huge fan of the Mission Impossible series. I really like the first one. I think it's a great film. I don't really remember 2 or 3 that well. I thought 5 was good, but not great. And I actually never saw the 4th one. So based on what I've seen, I can honestly say that I think Mission Impossible Fallout is hands down the best one. The action in this film is just incredible. Tom Cruise, my God, the man is almost 60. He should not be doing what he's doing in this movie. Now, I do remember a comment that Danny Trejo made once about how actors in film should not be doing their own stunts because if something happens, production gets halted. And that did happen in this movie. Tom Cruise actually broke his ankle during an action scene when he had to jump from one building to another. And production got halted for 7 to 8 weeks, and it cost the film $80 million. Now it all worked out, but still, it gets costly, and I agree that really when it comes down to it, when it comes to dangerous stunts, you really should be leaving it to to stuntmen. But credit where credit's due. The things that this man does in this film are amazing. There are times when I honestly have a hard time believing that it's actually taking place, and that it's really the actors that are doing it. In particular, the helicopter chase sequence is a sequence where the helicopter is spinning out of control. And yeah, as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, no, that can't be Tom Cruise. But yeah, that's really Tom Cruise piloting the helicopter. It's just incredible. Most of the rest of the cast does a great job. Sean Harris, who plays Solomon Lane, I think he shines a lot better in this film than he did the last one. I think he's more manipulative and sinister. And it's a much stronger performance. Henry Cavill, he's a very interesting performance in this, and it's intriguing to me because I'm so used to seeing him as Superman, to see him what he does in this film. I really enjoyed it. And speaking of Superman, every time I see him with facial hair, I'm constantly reminded about what happened with Justice League. That just makes me laugh. There was one person who kind of stood out, but for the wrong reason. Angela Bassett, who I not only love as an actress, I couldn't get over her performance in this. She was overacting her ass off in this. It was a really weird character choice, because every time she spoke, she would speak as if, either she had an ulterior motive or somebody else had an ulterior motive. I couldn't get over it. And also, Wes Bentley is in this film, and when I say he's in it, I mean he's barely in it. And it's weird, not because he's barely in it, but because his name was in the opening credits. He's in it for about 3 minutes, if that. His character is so insignificant. I don't see why his name would be in the opening credits, unless, I don't know, foreshadowing for the next installment. There were some moments during the film that I didn't quite buy, like the way Ethan Hunt was acting when he had to infiltrate the enemies. There was also this big reveal past the halfway point that I think could have been explained a little better. But nevertheless, I do think this is one of the strongest stories in the franchise. Even if it does get a bit derivative, I think it flows very well, and I think it makes more sense than some of the previous entries. There is a scene early on in the film where, as I was watching it, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this makes no sense. But as it plays out, I come to realize it actually makes total sense. And I have to say, bravo McQuarrie for subverting my expectations. The score is excellent, and the cinematography in this film is absolutely gorgeous. I think this would be a great film to see in 3D. It does run a bit long though, and it does follow some typical action cliches. Like I said before, it is a little derivative, and like all Mission Impossible films, it paints Ethan Hunt to be the luckiest man in the world to still be alive. Overall, I'm going to give Mission Impossible Fallout an 8.5 out of 10. And the only reason I don't give it higher is honestly personal bias. I don't really see action films on their own as being like really amazing films. I think they need to have more in order to propel them into that level of greatness. And honestly, I think if it weren't for my earlier complaints, I honestly think I probably would have given this film a 9 out of 10. But that's what I got. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.